Welcome to East Meets West, and today I have a special guest. And yes, as I said, every one of our guests are special. But Antoinette today is going to share on a topic that I think many of us need to hear and to help us also know where we stand, know where we are going, and what we can do about this here. But before I have Antoinette start talking, let me tell you a little bit about her. So Antoinette Griffin is a coach and obviously a John Maxwell coach, but she's more than that. She is an amazing speaker and a lot on communication and leadership. I've heard her spoke on the stages before. And also, I've known her for a few years now as, her husband was one of my coach. And so she specialized in working with millennial and executives level, entrepreneurs and emerging leaders with business leaders who are introverts. And that is our topic, especially today. And she's a certified Maxwell leadership, where she also serves as a faculty. And she consider her as kind of like the coach of the coaches or the trainer of the trainers. And yes, she coached us too, and many of the coaches, over 60,000 coaches worldwide. So you can imagine the experience that she has and what she's bringing to us here today, and how much we really appreciate her taking the time out to come and invest and add value to us. She is an instructor at the University of Texas Center for Professional Education, teaching a class for introverted business professionals. And has a popular YouTube channel. So do go look for her name and start following her. And those who want to be better, understand, you need to, learn from her. Follow her and get some tips. I'm sure ask her questions and find her on her social media platform and ask her any question. Even at the end of this program here in the comments, you can ask her any questions. You can ask me, and I will get her to answer you. So she has an upcoming book that you must look out for too. It's Becoming an Audacious Introvert. So am I saying that right? Becoming an audacious introvert helps introverts who want to show up boldly in life and work. I think that's all of us. And she's coming to us here today from Atlanta. And as I said, her husband, John, and oh yes, husky. They're husky. I see him a lot in some of our calls, and he actually part of my coaching session. His name is Rambo. But he's cute and big. But yes, so today let me just introduce back our topic. We are talking about leaders who are introverts, and how can you sometimes be misunderstood, and what can you do to show up and be your best? So this is all on Antoinette's hand because I am the total opposite of that. I think I was once there, but I have grown from there. But today, Antoinette is going to take us through this topic here to help all of us. In some areas, we might still feel introverted, but Antoinette is the expert. Let me not say anything more, but Antoinette, again, thank you so much for being on the program. And also, if you have anything else, I know this is a very short introduction about who you are, but if there's anything else you would like to share with us about you, and please do feel free to let us know. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Shanti. No, you covered it very well. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm super excited to talk to you all about introverts and also people who are leaders who sometimes question whether they can be a good leader as an introvert because sometimes they question themselves and sometimes they're often misunderstood. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure that everyone that is actually, listening to this here can relate to some extent, because we were just talking that 69% of the populations are S's, and S's are more introverted people, the C's and the S's. But you might not know what I'm talking about there, but as disc profiling, and I'm sure Antoinette is going to explain all of that. So Antoinette, tell us, because your whole background pretty much talks or speaks into introverts and what you're doing. So I know you have a lot to add to us here on this topic. So take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Shanti. So, let's first of all talk about those of you out there, or maybe it's somebody that you know that is introverted and they question whether they could really be a leader. Because maybe, for instance, if it's yourself, maybe you're very highly skilled at what you do, you're a great individual contributor. But you wonder, well, if I'm in a leadership position, I'm actually having to not only manage tasks, but I'm having to lead people. And sometimes that can be the uncomfortable part of it. But introverts can make excellent leaders, even if it is out of your comfort zone. And actually, introverts have some leadership strengths that extroverts, it's not that they don't have these same strengths, they just have to be really intentional about them. So, for instance, if you're introverted, then you're probably a really good listener because you feel more comfortable doing more listening than doing more talking. And when you think about a leadership position, whether it's a formal leadership position or whether it's just even informal. Maybe you are taking the lead in a team. And so maybe it's not a formal position, but as John Maxwell says, and Shanti knows as well, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So maybe you are taking the lead with a group of people at work or even in your personal life or in the community, and you have that strength of being a really good listener. It's probably something that you don't even have to work at. Whereas extroverts have to be mindful of, okay, I need to quit talking. I need to maybe be slow to speak so that I can hear from other people, rather than immediately say the first thing that's on my mind or immediately share my ideas in the direction that I want to go. So extroverts can do that, but like I said, it doesn't come as naturally for them because they do like to talk, just as introverts like to listen. Another great leadership strength with introverted leaders, or like I said, even if it's in a team, is they tend to be really good in the one-on-one type conversations. And whereas extroverts are really good when it comes to groups and larger group situations. And so think about, wouldn't you love to have a leader that really connected with you one on one and wanted to take that time and once again listen to you and listen to your ideas and take that time with you one on one rather than treating everybody the same in a group setting. So extroverts can do that. It's just their natural go-to is, well, I'll just call a big group meeting. And then thirdly, introverts are really good at not wanting to take the recognition or not wanting to take the accolades, but wanting to shine the spotlight on others, because they usually feel uncomfortable in the spotlight. And so they're not wanting to take the credit for things or wanting the recognition. They're wanting others to take that. And so that can be, once again, really attractive in a leadership position for the leader to point back to their teams for that recognition. Once again, not to say that extroverts don't do that. They just have to be intentional about, oh, that's right. I need to point the spotlight to someone else. And then the last thing that I want to talk about, the way that introverts are really good leaders, is there's been an experiment done as far as who was a better leader in a situation as far as rallying their team and getting stuff done. And they did these two research experiments, and in one of them, they had an introverted leader that was with a high energy, very creative, take the initiative type team. And that introverted leader did better at leading that team than the extroverted leader, because the introverted leader was able to sit back and let their team shine, let their team get into action, let their team make decisions, let their team be creative. And then in another experiment, they took a group of team members that were not proactive. They were more reactive. They were looking to their leader for the next step. And in those situations, the extroverted leader was the better leader, because the extroverted leader was going to be that more take charge. Hey, you don't know what to do. You're being reactive. I will show you. And so they were able to get the team moving. So just a little bit of background there that people may not be aware of as far as the introverted leadership strengths.
That's very insightful. I am smiling because my deep personality will come out, which sometimes talk too much. And indeed, that it's like harder for me to listen more when people are not getting to their point. And it's something that I know is an obstacle for me that is constantly working on. But Antoinette, as I'm thinking about this, I recall a conversation I had with a large company, and they have a lot of like junior level supervisors, and they want them to step into some more senior roles, and which means more responsibility, a larger team compared to maybe they were just seeing one person or something. Some of them were actually just working by themselves, and now they want them to become supervisors. But they're more introverted, they prefer just work by themselves. What would you actually also say to companies who want to see their people step out? How do they get them to step into a role of wanting to lead than stay in this introverted state?
Yeah, well, the thing is, the knowing that the leadership is going to support them, which is great as far as help get them, for instance, more visibility, maybe leading a team in a project, or leading a meeting. Often the leader, just let me just take meetings, for example. So often the leader of whatever group it is or whatever team it is the one that leads the meeting. Well, they don't have to be. The leader can still be there, but somebody else can actually run the meeting as far as go through the agenda, facilitate the discussion and things like that. And I think that's an excellent way that leaders can start grooming their people who they want to be seen in more of a leadership role, to start to get comfortable doing that. Now, they wouldn't want to just say, hey, the meeting's at 9 o'clock. I'm going to have you lead it today, because that would terrify the introvert. Oh my gosh. But to actually talk to them about it and say, I'm going to be there to, support you, and give them plenty of notice ahead of time. But leading meetings or team projects would be an excellent thing to do. On the introverted side, because a lot of times there's introverts, like I said, who kind of want those roles, or they're thinking, maybe I want that role, but I'm not sure how good I would be at it. Those introverts, they need to take some responsibility themselves. So, for instance, one thing is being more visible. So, for instance, if you're in an office environment, Get out of your office, start visiting with other people, get to work early and walk the halls and do what introverts hate to do, and that is make some small talk with people that you work with because it really does make a difference. So, for instance, if it's Monday morning, all you have to do is say, "Hey, what'd you do over the weekend?" And somebody may say nothing much, or somebody may start sharing what they did. And for you to share what you did a little bit over the weekend, if it's Friday or Thursday, what are you going to be doing this weekend? Just simple things like that to get yourself out of your comfort zone, out of your office, out of your space where nobody is seeing you. Because, some introverts, they're going, you know what? I could wear the same thing to work every day and nobody would even notice because I'm always in my office. And the only time people see me is when I go in and I go to the restroom or I leave for lunch and then I come in the next day. So being more visible at first, it will feel awkward because people may even be surprised. Oh, they're out of their office. They're making conversation with me. This is a little out of the ordinary. So in the beginning, that's when it's the hardest. But if you keep on doing it, then it becomes your new normal. And people aren't going to think anything of it later on. It's just in the beginning, they may be a little surprised, but you continue to do that. And it doesn't mean that you have to turn into this chatty Cathy, this person that's chatting it up all day, but just go, okay, maybe one day a week, I'm going to get to work early and I'm going to walk the halls and I'm just going to have some conversation with people on my way to my office. Or as John Maxwell says, walk slowly through the crowd. So when you do get to work, don't make a beeline, but actually take your time.
It's a good advice. Really interesting that I don't know how many of us actually stop to think about that, is to connect with your people. I think sometimes we're so busy too, and yes, if we're uncomfortable in talking to people because of our personality, I just like the word intentional just keeps coming to my head. You need to be intentional if you want to keep growing and you want to step into these roles, gonna require getting out your comfort zone. I always tell people that everything you want out of life is outside your comfort zone. So
Yeah,
are you willing to do it, or are you gonna stay there and complain?
exactly.
Yeah. So I know I just throw in a question there, but do continue.
Oh, so yeah, that's what I would say. As far as, when people say, what's the one advice that you would give introverts, whether it's in the workplace or even in your social life, and that is take the initiative rather than wait for people to come to you. Because if you really do want to increase and improve your not only your relationships with other people, but your career opportunities, your leadership opportunities, then you need to be more visible. So you need to get out there more. If it's a Zoom meeting or some kind of remote meeting, then turn your camera on. Let people see you. Ask a question, be more vocal because, especially in the remote environment, it's very difficult. It's very easy to just be forgotten, especially when you have some opportunities to be visible, such as in virtual meetings.
Yeah, what I found too is sometimes, this type of personality, sometimes in a room, somebody else make a decision, the introverts just go along with it. Instead of, maybe you have the best idea and are the better idea, but you end up leaving the room with it in your head. And to be comfortable, and I think sometimes the fear that you sound stupid, or this might not be a good idea, and whatever. And I think sometimes it's being okay that maybe wherever you think, I wouldn't say that you look stupid, but if you think that, be okay in looking stupid then. If you understand what I'm saying. But I wouldn't call that stupid. I would just say that, you want to put your ideas out there because it's your thought. Who thinks what about it? That's their business.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so often it happens, Shanti, because introverts like to think to speak. So what can happen is in a meeting or in conversations at work, somebody can ask the introvert, do you have any thoughts on this? Or the introvert may be thinking about things, but they need time to process it. So for some of them, they're not ready to voice it, and for others they don't feel comfortable voicing it in a larger environment. So that's where other leaders can actually use those one-on-ones to really draw the introvert out and say, I really do want to know your thoughts on this, or give the introvert an agenda before and say, hey, we're going to be talking about this, and I really do want to hear your ideas, so that the introvert has time to think about it ahead of time. That's one thing that's really important. But yeah, if it's a matter of just being fearful to voice your opinions and voice your thoughts, that's another thing, is you need to be visible, but you also need to be heard. So you need to speak. And the thing is, you're going to be listened to at a high level, because you're not this person that's out there talking all the time that people have now tuned out. So if you bring an idea that you are thinking of, or a question or a concern, then know that people are going to sit up and take notice and respect that, because like I said, you're not this person that's just out there talking all the time.
Awesome. I know for sure there are a lot of tips that you're getting here. And even for the extroverts, as to, you can learn some stuff from the introverts. That aspect of listening and the aspect of, communicating with this care of wanting to know the person on a one-to-one basis. And so, even giving recognition where recognition is needed. So, it's something that maybe we overlook all of this and we struggle with our communication with others. But when we start practicing just simple little tips, what Antoinette is saying here, you will start seeing changes. Before, I could honestly say that I was not comfortable. And I even was comfortable to do a podcast like this, and that's going to go out to the entire world, and people gonna hear me and might criticize what I'm saying, or some aspect of wherever I might say it wrong, or didn't put it over, whatever. And to be comfortable, and I'm just sharing this. I think that is what helped me, that intentional aspect, that, what, I want to be the best version of me, and to be able to do everything that I am capable of doing. I'm not comfortable doing, but I think I can be capable of doing this thing. I had to intentionally step out. And I was sharing this with a group the other day, is that I went and I volunteered to speak at like classes, at different university classes, a group of nursing students, or a group of business students in an next university, and just to get comfortable in talking about some aspect and something I've learned, and I'm going to share with them to help them. And I was doing it really because I want to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable speaking among a group. Then to be able to talk among a bunch of business owners sitting at the table and being able to ask hard questions. And I start challenging myself, just don't go to these meetings and sit and listen to everybody and come out back. But start asking one question. Start just find one thing to ask. And I started doing that. And until I've become more comfortable in having those kind of conversation and knowing that I'm not perfect and it's okay not to be perfect and just do it. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You're just working your way out of your comfort zone. That's good. And like you said, you're capable. It's not comfortable, but you're capable.
yes. But again, is what we say to ourselves. And I think many people just become comfortable. Look, Shanti, I'm not you, or I'm not like Antoinette. She's speaking all over the place, and she's comfortable with anyone asking her any question and all of that. People might say it like that, but I can sure that Antoinette would have started from some place.
Yes, I was very, very shy, very nervous, yeah, very low self-esteem. So yes, it was very difficult for me especially when I started working, to get out there and be visible and be confident and speak and things like that. Yeah, it was definitely a process.
I always say that to myself too. Nobody started something overnight. Maybe some of them were born great speaker boldness in them to speak out and don't make things bother them and what's not. But I do believe that it's in all of us if we want to bring it out.
Yes, definitely.
So Antoinette, as we come in to wrap up our time here, I know the time just go by so quickly. I'm gonna leave this in your hands. What last nugget that you would like to leave with us today on this topic?
I would say if you are introverted, that is your natural wiring. You're going to always be introverted. Your introversion will fluctuate. Some days you'll be more introverted or less introverted than others. But it doesn't mean that you have limitations. If it's something that you really want to do, if you really want to go for a job opportunity or a leadership role or expand yourself socially or public speaking, like Shanti said, you can do that by just taking one step out of your comfort zone. You can get there. So the introversion is the way that you're wired, but it does not have to limit you.
Yeah, build on your strengths.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with you that you may not want to speak up or, you know, it's just that it's a choice that, you know what, there are times when we do need to shut up and listen, and then there's times when we do need to speak. And people do want to hear your voice and hear your thoughts, and people value that. And it's up to you if you're gonna say that to you, that people do want to hear you, or you're gonna say, oh, nobody is interested in what I have to say. So I would say, many people are so negative to start work on removing that negativity that nobody would be interested and start saying, yeah, people will be interested in what I have to say.
Exactly. Well said, Shanti.
So, Antoinette, I know you have your book coming up, which is, I'm thinking will go more in depth into this topic. Do you want
Yeah.
to give us a sneak peek of something that might be in there, that book?
Yes, because it helps you better understand your wiring, but then also how to optimize your social battery. Because if you're introverted, you have to take these breaks. So I write about that, how to optimize it so that you're not giving away all your energy and then you're exhausted. But how do you take those breaks? And then how do you present yourself as far as non-verbally with your presence and your movement and eye contact and things like that. Then how do you present yourself socially and with your career? And then how do you navigate relationships? So it covers all those things.
Sounds very extensive.
Yes.
So we look forward to seeing when your book come out, and we can feature it back on our program when you
Thank you.
launch it. And yeah, we can have back a next discussion on this topic, as many people would like to know more. And
Thank you, Shanti.
yeah, so we will invite Antoinette back on our program when she launch her book. to tell us some more in it and also give you an opportunity to get it so that you have a mentor that can help you through this process here that's walking alongside you through her books.
Yeah, and meanwhile, check out my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/my name, Antoinette Griffin. You see my name spelled down there. I've got all kinds of videos on there for introverts and for those who are wanting to better understand them.
So there you have it. You have somebody who's adding value to you. It's up to you now to just take the advantage and go use it and just go practice. If she tells you today, wear a bold color, go and wear something bold. And it's funny though, Antoinette, my entire closet was pure black and white. Until
Oh,
someone
really? Well,
told
and I'm
me
wearing
that,
white today.
and I wonder, but then I started to change. I started add some flowers and some colors and different, but again, all of that is stepping out your comfort zone. Yeah.
True, true. I do talk about that in the book too, about dressing bold, but dressing in a way that makes you show up, not in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, but in a way that you're not blending into the background. And for some people, it is wearing black because they really do feel their best in black. So it's not about that you have to wear bold colors, but it's about not being afraid to be seen.
Yes. Awesome. So, Antoinette, thank you so much for being on our program. Thank you for all
Thank
the nuggets. I
you.
really appreciate it and a really timely topic, honestly, of my experience with many people right now, that even those who I'm coaching, to get them out of this introverted mindset and understand they're leading a team, it's their business, what they need to start doing, and all of that. And this is going to be helpful for them. So,
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me, Shanti.
yes. So guys, do share this recording. Make sure that you comment and also, let us know some of your thoughts, maybe some of your challenges or, areas that you think you can work on based on your introvertedness. And let us see how can we help you. So thank you also for all those who are looking, and do share this on your platform too with your audience. Take care.
Thank you.